Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our subjects, you guys. How are you feeling? How are you doing? Are you gonna get hit by this hurricane in South Texas or not? I I don't believe where we are in Houston it will hit. We'll get rain and stuff like that, but nevertheless, be safe out there. If you guys are traveling this Sunday going into this following week, but yeah, we are going to get into today's subject. I'm really pumped about it. We are going to be talking about self love. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about self love for women and men. And yes, a lot of women are going to have something to say about this, but yes, for men. And how you should also approach it, regardless of what gender you are, applauding self love to the opposite sex is a must. Alrighty, so the inspiration. We always dive into an inspiration mood board, every subject and where it came from. And my inspiration of this subject came from, lo and behold, TikTok. Yes, TikTok. And also a very special man in my life. I will not say his name or anything like that because I don't think he'd want it to. But there is someone in my life. Yes, I am single, but there is someone in my life in that way that I have just felt the need to speak on his self love experience and what I'm observing from it and how I'm applauding it and encouraging it more and more for him. But yeah, let's jump into it. That's the inspiration mood board for today. And let's get into it. Something my sister on the show says often, she always says, treat yourself. And I started to pick that up, and I always thought in my mind that that was something that people did often. But after coming across a client of mine who I've been in touch with for a couple of weeks now, and we talk weekly, and it's almost like therapy in a way, but not necessarily therapy. She actually booked me to talk to her about helping her through her social media journey and her social media career and how much we give up as creators and actors and models and just how much we put on the table for career. Truly breaks my heart to hear people, and I don't want to get emotional, but I probably will because I love you guys. Like, I love people. And I feel like a lot of what's happened in my life was meant to be shared with the world, it was meant to be shared with you to help you guys in so many ways. The amount of experience I have encourages me. It's like, why did I go through that? Like, why? It wasn't just for me. You know what I mean? It breaks my heart to see people that I don't even know from Adam not even know how to self love, not understand what it's like to treat themselves. Regardless if it's the fact that they have kids or they're married or not. And it just blows my mind because when I was growing up, I saw so much self-love in every see the worst side of this be both men and women. And mainly, of course, in front of us, like on our show, it's like it's women, right? And they're going through divorces or they've unfortunately had miscarriages and or have had terrible breakups or whatever it is, and they kind of like crawl into a dark hole and they don't understand that even going through that, terrible relationship or terrible situation, that you still should put makeup on your face, do your hair, and treat yourself to something. Even if it's just, a coffee in the morning, purchasing a coffee or purchasing a small item, something, show yourself love and appreciation. When you don't do that, you lose yourself. One thing I admired about my mom was that through everything that woman went through, everything with her kids, her love life, her personal life, her career, her family, just everything, that woman still did her hair, still did her makeup, still put perfume on, still treat herself to things. Even if it was small things, even if it was like filing her nails down and just, putting, oil on them because she didn't believe in cuticle oil, but she believed in like oil, like just oil in general for your whole body. And then a little bit goes a long way every single time. I want you to hear that again. A little bit goes a long way every single time. Every single time. Treat yourself to things. And throughout that time, develop self-discipline. Self-discipline is the largest form of love you can give yourself. Some people are like, how in the world can you just like quit eating like junk food? And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? How can I just quit? I just stop. My family taught me self-discipline throughout my life. And that if you really want something, you're going to develop a discipline for it. There's a love for discipline, for the action, for your results, and you get it. You ever meet people who you feel like always get what they want? Always get what they want. Now, the ending result may have not been exactly what you thought in your mind or sought it out to be, that it be what they would deem as success, right? But to them, they got what they wanted out of it. They got what they needed out of it every single time. And you want to know what those people are always doing? They always have a passion for discipline every single time. When you create a passion for treating yourself correctly, putting all the good things into your body, drinking more water, getting up earlier, staying consistent in certain things, you develop a passion for that. Once upon a time, there was a man in my life who told me, there is no challenge for you, Daniela. There's nothing that I feel like I can't conquer. There really is nothing. Now, there are things beyond me. There are situations, and of course, beyond everybody. But in the world that I have lived in and have forcefully been in mentally and emotionally from the moment I was in my mother's womb until now, because I developed a passion for discipline in every area in my life, I truly feel like I can have whatever I want. And I always have to be careful what I say because I get it all the time. And that's because I develop a passion for discipline, which is the largest and best, most important self love you can ever give yourself. And it helps you as a human. And I'm not speaking specifically men or women, it just helps you in general to make clear decisions and to feel like, oh my gosh, I can reach more. I can go for more. I can truly, truly be my full potential. Now, of course, there are times where I lack because I'm a human being. There are times where, yeah, sometimes I don't get what I want when I want it. But I always have to go back to that trace of action every single time. And it works. And it happens. And I'm beyond belief every time. But when you give yourself self love and you put makeup on your face, or you just do your hair. You don't even have to makeup, put good moisturizer, girl. Put some good eye cream on, a good lip balm, um, maybe a little stud earrings. Do your hair, maybe straighten your hair, or curl your hair, or airbrush your hair out. Put a little hat on, little. Just feeling put together is gonna give you the like. You feel radiant. You feel like, oh my gosh. And then when you are around people or in certain atmospheres, you almost feel like this little like this little fairy that's like glowing, you know? Of course, me like loving people, I want everyone to feel that. I want everyone to experience that and experience it often. Now, of course, in the times that I was going through the Rocky Mountains and the dark tunnels, yeah, there was actually a period on this show specifically for a solid like 3 months. It was hard for me to put an ounce of makeup on my face because of what I had to get out of. I had to get out of such a toxic situation. And it wasn't the relationship, it was the relationship surrounding the relationship is what was toxic. And it was just being around toxic people all the time, unhappy people all the time, people who didn't give themselves self love, who didn't have self discipline, who didn't have any discipline at all, was driving me insane. It just like ate at me. Get away from those people. The next best form of self love is getting out of the toxic relationships. Yeah. Yeah. Although I wasn't like 100 million%, but I was happy. I was, 90, 85, 90% happy in my recent past relationship. And I was, oh, cool, whatever. But I had to, when things started to develop, when I started to get angry really quick. And then I was developing these like nasty attitudes. And it got to a point where he was like, are you happy? No, I wasn't happy. Look at what you surrounded me with. Come on. Like, so I had to get out because I knew bitter and angry and I didn't want any of it. I wanted nothing to do with it. It just doesn't look good on anybody. I don't care who you are, what you do, what your achievements are in life. Bitterness does not look good on you. And it actually pushes people away. It actually doesn't help you in any way, shape. Holding revenge is another one. Just jealousies and that, like, those are some of the most nastiest traits. I want nothing to do with it. And those are some of the worst traits in a human being ever. Ever, which leads you down other paths. I just didn't want to be around such a negative vibe. It was harder said than done. Easier said than done, but it was really hard for me. Because I loved that us, but the surrounding us, I wasn't protected and wasn't making me happy. So I had to do a lot of self-reflection towards the end of that relationship, and I began to work a lot more. I began to filming, hardcore 12 days, 5 days a week, to 6 to 7, to attending less and less shows, to focus more on myself and have more alone time with myself, and to really realize, Danielle, is this like, are you gonna be the butterfly you want to be if you stay here, or are you gonna let that beat on you? Because if you really love yourself, you're not going to put up with this. And no matter how much you love that person, it's time to go, because you have to love yourself first. You have to put yourself first. And I see that in so many ways, and so many men and women especially who have kids, especially with the ones who have kids. Now, I might be able to insert a clip. Okay. And if this is on Instagram and Facebook, you'll see it in the end. I'll post it if it lets me. I might have to screen record it. I don't know. But somebody today, actually, in a video that I saw when I was on, on break from the show. I was like kind of scrolling through. I was trying to find the show on TikTok, and then this video came on, and the guy said, it was a guy specifically, he said, put yourself first before your kids. Put yourself first before your kids. You want to know what also goes before your kids? Your spouse. Come for me. Come for me. Do it. Do it. Those people who never did, guarantee they don't love themselves fully. And they're busy trying to grasp what happened. What happened? They lost themselves. Why? Because they didn't do the self-reflection and say, I deserve to go get my hair done. I deserve to go get my nails. You know what? I love my husband. Yeah, he wants me, to go whatever event with him. But I'm gonna take this time and just show myself love. For you have to do it to yourself before anybody can do it for you. That is a huge thing. When you have kids, and I've seen it in my own family, when the adult didn't show themselves love, yes, there's a couple of adults in my family, my blood family, not immediate, I'm talking about of all extensions, when they didn't do it, they didn't discipline themselves to show themselves love, therefore didn't teach other people how to love them. Some people have the love of acts of service or physical or emotional or whatever it may be. They blew up. They just were like rah all the time and angry all the time. And that's one of my uncles who passed away last year. Yeah, that was him. He got so caught up in taking care of everybody else, and his wife, and his kids, in his yard, his house, the cars, the lifestyle that we all lived growing up. But he didn't look at himself and say, I deserve to go out and do things by myself and do it often. It wasn't often that I saw him do anything. We were, me being the cousin and being his niece, I was around him. He was just so angry, and it was never him, just him for him. And it wasn't often at all. Yeah, of course, there were a time or two that I saw, but now that I look back, I'm like, dang, if he really showed himself love and really had a passion for discipline and a discipline for passion, boy, what a different human being he would have been. Absolutely. You must love yourself before anybody can love you. You must show yourself how to love yourself before you can show others how you want to be loved. And that goes before anyone. To the folks who have kids, I don't have kids, but I'm only speaking on behalf of me viewing my mom's experience as the child. In the times that my mom just let go, it was when she found out she was sick. Okay? She just let go of I feel like a lot of it was my grandmother's fault. I wasn't there, I wasn't born, but I felt like my mom had an eating disorder, and that is essentially what led into health issues later on down the line. She would starve herself or gain so much weight and then stay there and then starve herself and be skinny as heck. It was a mental roller coaster for her, but because my grandmother or my grandfather didn't teach her how important it was to, of course, lose weight or gain a little weight and understand healthy weight, it essentially led to her downfall and her death at only 61 years old. My mom was so young when she died. I feel like my mom would have had although my mom did have a full life, and I feel like she did a lot in her life, especially raising me and making all the decisions she had to make based off of what was given to her. I felt like she could have had a much fuller life if she had just trusted me as her younger child, that I was going to do well in life regardless, and not go date, mom. Like, go talk to a guy. And then when she did, it was a little too late. And she started to realize it because I was all grown up. And she had worked me all my life. So, you know, I didn't necessarily need her. And so when I was gone, she was left with what? Her thoughts. And essentially, she passed. And I did my best as a child to take care of her and be there as much as I could. Of course, like, I was eventually growing into resentment, and we'll go into that another day. But because she had lost a little bit of the self love and the self care it was really the self care that she just didn't have a discipline for. And I think that's where my grandfather and grandmother failed. They didn't teach my aunts and uncles that, but they taught me. So, of course, the cycle's now broken. But of course, I struggle with that. I'm a human being as well. So, if you have kids, put yourself first. You are no good to anybody if you are not well yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and all the other ways. Like, always work on it. Put in the more work, honestly, you just never know when it's your last. Embrace it and give yourself the love it deserves and accept the love from other people. Sometimes it's hard for me. We all have pride issues sometimes. Have a passion for self-love. I love you guys so much. Be good to one another. Be kind to one another. Love one another. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just let your girl know. And until next time, please, please be safe out there, you guys, especially all of us in Texas. And I have a few friends in Mexico. But yeah, be safe, you guys. I'll see you guys next week for sure. I already have my next segment written down. So make sure you guys check it out. You can subscribe to my channel. If you're here on YouTube, hello. I see you guys watching and I see you guys loving it. So yeah, we'll just keep filming. And I'll see you guys next time. Nevertheless, be safe. I'll see you guys on the show.